We're buying cheaper products from other companies, so goodbye." Joe Mayer announced the termination of our contract on her own accord. She's the president's wife, and since they were our major client I panicked, but then had an epiphany. "Understood, we won't deliver to you ever again," I said, and signed the contract she had brought. Later she came back to our office pale-faced. "I'm Clara Hayes, 37, a CEO running the company I inherited from my grandfather. It's a staple business with many trusted clients. Mainly manufacturing precision equipment. I'm always learning about economics and development to protect this company and its employees, some of whom have been here since my grandfather's time and know more than I do. They've taught me various things, and I've managed to earn trust from my employees. Even at my young age, I've also sincerely and enthusiastically dealt with our clients, maintaining the company's stable performance. Yet there's always more to learn. I must keep learning to earn their trust even more now." One day a crisis occurred. It started because of the wife of the president of one of our biggest clients. My husband said he's had a long relationship with this company, but I didn't know it was run by a young girl like you. Isabella Grant, the wife of the president from a major contracting company we've had since my grandfather's era, assessed me. It was on the day of a Christmas party organized by her husband. It was a large event gathering all associated companies, not just a regular Christmas party I attended as invited, mingling as my grandfather advised. That's when she appeared, claiming to be acting on behalf of the president, though she rarely involves herself in the management. It was our first meeting. After a brief greeting and expressing my gratitude for their patronage, she unexpectedly commented, "I don't know what tricks you used to deceive my husband, but you might regret it someday." Confused by her words, she left to chat up another company's president much more amiably than with me, leaving me to wonder why she disliked me so in such a short time. The Christmas party ended with me feeling unsettled, and I decided not to attend the after-party, but instead visit my family where my parents and grandparents live. I often consult my grandfather, so I decided to go home to talk to him. When I arrived, I apologized for my late visit. They welcomed me warmly and told me that my grandfather was still awake. I went to his room and spoke to him about what Isabella has said in her personality. He described her as perfect, a devoted wife with a son supporting her husband. This left me more confused about her. A few days after the party, Isabella showed up at my company and announced, surprising my employees and my secretary, and being away, I had her wait, which seemed to make her angry. "I'm the wife of the president of one of your major client. Do you think this treatment is acceptable? Leaving a company in the hands of a young girl like her is simply ridiculous to me." Her unannounced visit was more ridiculous, but I couldn't say that not being there. My secretary was apparently scolded by her. When I hurried back, Isabella had already left, and I told my secretary I would apologize to her later. Eventually, I arranged to meet Isabella on the day of the appointment. I was expecting the president, but found her sitting arrogantly at his desk. Instead, I apologized for not being able to see her the other day. I was ready to hear her out when she surprisingly said, "We're buying cheaper products from other companies, so goodbye." I was taken aback and couldn't find words to respond. Immediately my eyes widened as she mockingly added, "A company run by a young girl like you can't be trusted, and the products you deliver are a rip-off. We're canceling our contract for cost reduction." Her claims were too one-sided, and I strongly retorted that we weren't overcharging. I passionately highlighted our products' quality and in how they've been recognized by her husband, keeping the contract alive. However, my efforts seemed futile. Such arrogance from a young girl, she disdainfully remarked. I questioned if her husband was aware of this, to which she claimed to have full authority as the acting president due to issues at their overseas manufacturing line. This explained the president's absence from the Christmas party. "Tomorrow, I'll bring the contract termination documents to your company. Make sure you're there. I won't tolerate any waiting." I asked for the time of her visit, and she reluctantly told me. After leaving her company, I felt the weight of possibly not being able to pay my employees if we lost such a significant client. Desperate, I brainstormed ways to prevent the contract termination. The next day, Isabella arrived, slamming the documents on my desk and urging me to sign quickly. "Please at least let me speak with your husband. There's no time. We're both very busy people, unlike your small company. We're a major corporation. You'd understand if you're even remotely a CEO, right?" Her descending demeanor infuriated me, announcing the termination of a contract in such an outrageous, one-sided manner. And here I thought our companies had a long-standing relationship. You think if anyone fancies themselves a bit of a CEO they'd understand just how much of a betrayal this is, but apparently she doesn't have an ounce of guilt. Frustrated, I decided to implement the secret plan I had thought of all night. Are you sure about this? I asked her earnestly, to which she scoffed. Confirmed by her reaction, I smiled and agreed. Understood, we won't deliver to you ever again. She briefly seemed wary as I easily backed down, but seeing me sign the contract she smirked, satisfied. Thank you. Now we have no relation to your company, she said, leaving content my secretary, and I smiled, secretly pleased she didn't check the documents thoroughly. After seeing her off, I sent a brief email to her husband, the president, thanking him for his patronage, knowing he would understand the situation. Shortly after, we received a call. Hello, Mrs. Brown. I apologize for calling you out of the blue. I was surprised by your email. What exactly is going on? Could we possibly have a meeting to discuss this? I casually agreed to his request. A week later, he showed up at my company with a pale face, accompanied by his grim-faced wife Chill. After exchanging polite greetings and skipping the small talk, Mr. Mayor immediately asked about the email. I guided the anxious president to a sofa and served coffee slowly. Then, sitting across from him, I prefaced by saying the conversation would be a long one before explaining everything that had happened. I was shocked when your wife's Chill suddenly announced the termination of her contract, but I've already signed the documents and I wanted to say goodbye to you in person. You've been so kind to us over the years. As I spoke without hiding my irritation, he turned pale and apologized. Isabella, who came with him, looked dumbfounded and silent. Mr. Mayor was sweating profusely with a serious expression. Apologized to me? Isabella rattled, scolded him in a high-pitched voice. Oh, and what are you doing apologizing to this young girl? Stop it. But he insisted on apologizing, even to her, pleading with me while giving her a sidelong glare. We can't afford to terminate this contract. Our company relies on yours to thrive. Please, I beg you, reconsider. He apologized repeatedly. Isabella, watching this, glared at me with displeasure. Canceling our contract with such a small company won't harm ours at all. I secured a contract with a company in Southeast Asia to cut costs. That should be good enough. What's the problem? She said, maintaining her defiant attitude. The president, after noticing my reaction, turned red with anger and yelled at her. You don't understand anything, do you? How dare you do this on your own? We've had a sincere relationship with our company for 40 years. 40 years? Can't you comprehend the significance? She snorted dismissively. So what? Cutting ties with this company reduces costs and allows us to lower our product prices. We can outperform our competitors. There are only good things for us. He grew even angrier at her words. I was a fool to entrust you with the role of acting president, he regretted loud while she looked triumphantly at him. Just then her phone rang. I'm busy right now, she answered the call irritably, but her face turned pale in an instant and she began to panic. Wait, hold on, what do you mean? After she hung up, I deliberately asked, is something wrong? Seemingly overwhelmed, she complained, the products we order from a Southeast Asian company have been delayed by 3 weeks and everything they've delivered is of poor quality. I smiled cunningly at her. That's to be expected. Our precision products have a unique aspect that other companies can't replicate. What do you mean? It's the craftsmanship, I said sharply, glaring at her. She looked at me blankly. Not understanding. I explained how our technology and craftsmanship developed over the years were irreplaceable. Moreover, our products incorporate unique technologies not available to other companies. Only our artisans can replicate such technology, one said. Proudly, she clenched her teeth in frustration, her face clouded with defeat. I faced her confidently, having silenced her ranting. Now she looked down, soaking like a child. I asked why she had taken such action. She defiantly began to explain, because I wanted my son to inherit our company. But my husband opposed it and suggested his brother instead. It turns out her plan was for her son's sake. He was described as shy and bad at asserting himself, and Isabella had devised a plan to make him president. The plan required her to reign as president in the meantime, and the overseas trouble seemed like a perfect opportunity. She aimed to cut ties with long-standing partners and gather allies for herself, so she ditched the company they've had relationships with for ages and proceeded to secure a contract with a company she found. Apparently her company now consisted mostly of her allies. The only company left was yours. If we could cut ties with you, my husband's support would vanish completely. Plus, as our major supplier, you had some influence which interfered with my plans. I thought I had found a company that could produce the parts we needed, she ranted, glaring at her husband. He sighed, exasperated by her devilish glare. You really don't understand anything. Our son doesn't want to inherit the company. She looked shocked at his words. He then explained his son's true wishes to the unsettled Isabella. He wants to pursue agriculture, not business. He even said he wants to attend the College of Agriculture instead of studying economics. That's why I was going to ask my brother to inherit the company. That's a lie. It's true. Look at this, he insisted, showing her his phone. It showed a message from his son celebrating his acceptance into the College of Agriculture alongside a photo presumably taken in front of the university. Isabella looked at the photo intently, then suddenly hung her head, seemingly deflated. Mr. Mayor then turned to me. With a pleading look, please, I will spend my lifetime making amend for this. Indiscretion, could we possibly renegotiate the contract? I decided to help him. Well, if Isabella is no longer involved in management in the future, we can pretend this contract termination never happened. He cheered at my words while Isabella, seemingly unable to hide her frustration, glared at me and insisted the termination documents remain valid. I won't invalidate the termination documents. My son will be president no matter what. She was clearly being stubborn. I advised her to double-check the contract documents. I had my secretary bring over the copy she had given us. Take a look at the signature field, I pointed out, indicating a spot outside the designated signing area where my signature was. She let out a surprised "what?" as she saw it. This means the termination hasn't actually been processed. Silly me. I guess I signed in the wrong place, but you also didn't verify it, so it's a mistake on both sides, isn't it? She gasped, her arms falling limply. I told her someone who doesn't thoroughly check contract documents isn't suited for management. She hung her head in defeat as the president hastily picked up the dropped copy of the documents from the ground, checking its contents before beaming with gratitude. "Thank you, Mrs. Brown, thank you so much," he repeated while Isabella looked bitterly disappointed. Afterward, I managed to keep them. Our major client, my grandfather, praised me, and I felt relieved to have secured the future for our employees. However, Isabella had attempted similar actions with other companies, leaving the president scrambling to rectify the situation. I also offered my help to him, explaining the situation to the companies I knew that had their contracts terminated by her and asking for their corporation because they were willing to help. Based on my request, his company was able to recover. As for Isabella, she was owed from the management team and faced with divorce for tarnishing the company's reputation. Despite her resistance, the president, disillusioned by her action, showed no mercy. Custody of their son went to Mr. Mayor, freeing him from his mother's pressure and allowing him to pursue his studies according to his own beliefs. This incident not only allowed me to curry favor with a major corporation, but also spread through the industry, securing new contracts for my company. Thanks to this, our sales have been on the rise, surpassing the achievements of my grandfather's era. The employees trust and support me even more now. I am watching over them as I continue to study and lead as president. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe for more stories like this.